So now I will invite Cristina Martinez Pinto to continue with our program.
Thank you. Building on our previous keynotes, Saif and Fabian, thank you. We welcome you to today's panel on AI for social good. And we thank you for joining us this beautiful morning/afternoon. It's a bit hot in here. To have a thoughtful discussion on what are the different use cases where we can apply artificial intelligence for impact. My name is Cristina Martinez. I am CMind's AI for Good Lab Director. We're an impact innovation agency based in San Francisco and Mexico City. And we basically believe that everyone, everywhere, should have equal access to opportunity. And we strive to democratize the benefits of the fourth industrial revolutions to achieve this purpose. So we think that this panel, or we hope that this panel, will allow us to reflect upon tough questions, such as in light of rapid technological change, globalization, and climate change, what do you think should be the new roles of institutions and of activists? Or how can we harness the power of collaborations and of technologies for social impact, but also to bridge inequality gaps and to help those who need it the most? We will have today with us 5 amazing speakers. I will be introducing them in a minute. And before starting our conversation, we would love to introduce them one by one. So they give a small presentation, and then we start with the discussion. So starting with Claudia Flores, who is here. Claudia Flores is a fellow at Facebook Research and at the Oxford Internet Institute. She is also a PhD student in the Human-Computer Interaction Lab at West Virginia University. Her research involves the areas of artificial intelligence, crowdsourcing, and social computing. She is interested in understanding how bad actors organize misinformation and propaganda messages, and how other citizens organize to debunk those manipulative campaigns. She uses this knowledge to then design intelligent systems that can fight disinformation at scale. She started her exploration of online spaces, analyzing how political trolls were organized during the 2016 US presidential election. Her research has been covered by the Associated Press, Newsweek's Salon Hair, and Salon. Her research has caught the attention and has initiated collaboration with different think tanks and organizations such as Wikimedia Foundation, the National Democratic Institute, and the Organization of American States. Previously, Claudia worked as a technology advisor to the governor of state of Veracruz in Mexico and has provided technology advice to the presidency of Mexico. Claudia has a master's degree in information technology from Carnegie Mellon University and collaborates with the National Autonomous University of UNAM. She will be speaking about understanding and countering propaganda. Welcome, Claudia.
Hi, where's my little thing? Thank you for having me here. It's a great panel that we're going to be talking a little bit about how artificial intelligence can help and can be used for social good. Dr. Savage already gave a little bit of an introduction about how we've been at the West Virginia University been using artificial intelligence for social good. I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on the area of social media, because that's where I've been focusing my research lately. As Cristina told us, I've been working more about detecting how bad actors or trolls have been working on social media and how they've been trying to spread misinformation and disinformation, and this could affect, for example, democracy, political elections. And I think that we know a little bit about this topic in a certain way because we just have the presidential election last year, so that's what I'm gonna be my talk about now. How do I? Can someone help me with this? I don't know how. Oh, okay, yeah. So my talk outline is very simple. I'm gonna be focusing on 2 main research questions that I had at the beginning of my PhD. The first one is how computational propaganda is produced in political elections and how we might use this to understand and size artificial intelligence systems to detect and mitigate the spreading of this computational propaganda. For those who do not know, computational propaganda is the use of algorithms, automation, and human creation to purposely manage and distribute misleading information over social media networks. This being over a 5-year project that the Oxford Internet Institute have been working on, and we have been doing research with them about that too. So a little bit of background. One main producers of computational propaganda are political trolling communities. And what kind of political trolling communities are we talking about? One main political trolling community that was very popular in 2016 in the US, it was the Donald. Has anybody heard about the Donald on Reddit? Besides Dr. Savage? No? Okay. For those who know, Reddit is like a website where there's a lot of forums that have subreddits, and each subreddit is focused on a specific topic. This was a subreddit about Donald Trump with a lot of followers that had the same ideas as Donald Trump, were supporting him during the elections. It had around 300,000 members. Right now, it's around 700,000 members. And they were infamous because of how their tactics were spreading all over social media and all over internet. That got a lot of media attention. That they started something that was called the meme war, where they just massively produce memes, and they started to distribute it on Facebook, Twitter, and also they were starting to harass other political opponents, other actors, other celebrities that are opposed to their ideology. So that's why they created this propaganda and started distributing. So that was the main background that I want you to understand. So prior work before this research, it has been about how can we detect this type of thing on the internet? How can we detect how they are doing it, and who are they? Who are they mainly? So there's a very famous book that I recommend a lot. That it's called "This Is Why We Can Have Nice Things." It talks a little bit about the story of political trolls. If you're interested in the topics, this is something that you might be interested in reading. But mainly, it was more qualitative studies that did this. I mean, quantitative, sorry. So what we needed to know is, or what I wanted to understand is how these political trolls were organizing and producing this political propaganda. So for this, what I did was my main study, that it's mobilizing the Trump train, that it's focused on exactly on Trump, and other studies that we've been doing over the years. What we did was trying to understand this on different social media networks, especially Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. And then we did a little bit of probabilistic and crowdsourcing models to characterize this type of propaganda. And what we analyzed was around 20 million posts, from different political elections that were happening. And what we used was, besides a little bit of this probabilistic and crowdsourcing models, we also have to use crowdsourcing because it was really difficult to understand every post. So after we wanted to detect specifically those posts that were trying to encourage people to do something. For example, distribute this, or click this, or post this, something that was calling to an action. So for this, what we did was to do a dictionary of action verbs to characterize each post, and then use crowdsourcing to do this, and they would say something like, yes, this is a call to action, no, it is not call to action. And then you use clustering that could kind of separate them according to the styles. What we found, it was they were doing three main different things that were being effective. The first one was they were using slang. They had like their own community where they understand each other. They call, for example, the portables, and they have people frog that they just understand. So what I got from that is that they were a community. They have their own language. They were like a sisterhood, a brotherhood, if you want to call that. The other thing is that there were posts specifically that were seeking to make things viral. For example, in this Twitter post, what they were trying to do is to make a certain hashtag trends. And then they were massively creating certain images, and they put it in repositories and just make things easier for others to distribute. So this way, that's how they got widespread all over social media. And the other thing is that they were providing historical context. The historical context is very interesting because they were putting a lot of effort in trying to make other people to convert to the ideology. For example, this How to Read PR Liberal, and it was a manual, a very extensive manual, and which where they were put like instructions about what you should say or you should not say if someone start to arguing with you and trying to defeat your ideology. So as I already explained a little bit, I'm going to be a little quicker because we don't have much time. But this one is an example of the using slang. The focus to go viral. This one was very interesting because Reddit had to alter the algorithm just because they were putting a lot of their topics on top of the Reddit main page. So this was like a very public argument that I had with the Reddit CIO about why he changed their algorithm and why this community felt like we're being targeted from the CEO Reddit. And the last one that I already explained, these were like the type of manuals that we're trying to get. So what we got from this analysis is that in order to recruit more supporters to participate, what was more effective was if they explain people why they should participate, why they should join them. So now that we have an understanding, the final thoughts that we have from this is that they did a lot of microtasks to facilitate wider participation in the production of propaganda. So this is the example of microtasks that I told you that they were trying to make this trending topic to go viral on Twitter. They also create a lot of engagement in their communities. For example, they were doing micro games where they just there was something that it was the Trump train, that the only objective of this was that people interacted with this bot, and the bot what did was just increase the speed of the train. So it was very simple. Okay, I go quicker. And the other is that they were also educating people through the manuals that they were creating. What we got from the last electoral election in Mexico, what we found that was very interesting, is that there was these NGOs that emerged from I think it was the earthquake that was called Verificado. They were creating this type of virtual kind of tutorials about how people could differentiate what was computational propaganda or not. So that was something that very interesting to observe. And right now, the second question that we had from finding this is how can we use this knowledge to encourage people to participate and to detect by themselves and a little bit of mitigate this spread of the computational propaganda. So as Dr. Savas said in her talk, we work a little bit from the beginning of the PhD. I started working with Wikimedia Foundation to try to work in a problem that they had. And that was that there were a lot of, in Wikipedia there's a problem, a lot of people that do not edit Wikipedia because they feel harassed. So there are a lot of trolls in the Wikipedia. And what these trolls do is that they try undo the edits that they do on Wikipedia. So we were trying to encourage participation from people outside of Wikipedia, for example, minority groups that it's a problem that Wikipedia has. There are a lot of white people that are editing Wikipedia that creates bias on the encyclopedia. So what we're trying to do is to use social media to recruit people to participate on this type of problems. So what I proposed was a system with two main blocks. That was a citizen motivator and a citizen coordinator. The citizen motivator is that it's like a bot that would crawl all over social media trying to find people that were already motivated to participate in Wikipedia, for example, for certain reasons. Like, for example, there are a lot of biographies that are from men but not for women. So we're trying to find people that were talking about women issues and their lack of representation. So we were targeting them. We were asked them to participate, but we wanted to make it easier because they don't have time. So we were creating microtabs to do this, and that's where the citizen coordinator enters. The citizen coordinator is just like, it's like a bot that creates microtasks for them. For example, a really simple example is if you want to have a biography of a woman that should be on Wikipedia but is not, just tell me the name. And then if the citizen asks, what they would do next was ask, for example, their age, or for example, what is worthy about that woman, and then start to create the biography. So with this experiment, we create around 10 bios. That right now, let me show you an example. This is the Wikipedia example that I just introduced yourself because I don't have time. There's examples where what happened was that we at the end published the article in Wikipedia, and then the Wikipedians started to expand that article once that the seed was planted on Wikipedia. So that was a really simple case use of the system of how we can use artificial intelligence and crowdsourcing for the social good. So that same idea, that's what we've been working on right now. It's trying to use the same principles for detection of computational propaganda, for example, in political elections, on other political events. So what's different about here is that we need to train these systems we need the people to give a certain context of what is computational propaganda and what is not, but because it's very different to differentiate. As Joshua said, human artificial intelligence is still way better than the computers right now. So what we want to do is to train the systems and make it like this database of this propaganda, so we can train them later so they can learn over time to use the responses. And automatically, after the training is done, sometimes we can get like in this utopia where they can detect this propaganda by themselves. So I went a little bit right now, as Dr. Savage said, we are trying to work on these same principles, especially with immigrants, because there's a lot of things that have been going on over the news on social media about how they've been targeted, and they've been being target of this propaganda that might have certain consequences for them and for their security, especially in the border area with Mexico and Guatemala and stuff like that. And we have been working with the Organization of American States for the same reasons, because they do monitoring of elections all over Latin America, and that's a topic that they haven't been tackling. I mean, the recommendations are more in type of what the countries can do in terms of to have a better democracy, but offline. But right now they are having this problem on how this computational propaganda has been spreading on social media, and they are right now exploring how can Organization of American States tackle this issue or give recommendations to do that. Thank you.